l'émission. Enfin, voilà, une question fictive chacun, au cas où les questions du public ne sont pas pertinentes. Parce que parfois, ils posent des questions sur les admissions, sur des choses qui sont irrelevant, ou des questions qui sont à côté, ou des questions très précises concernant leur cas particulier, souvent en lien avec les admissions. Donc on prévoit des questions fictives au cas où il n'y ait pas de questions pertinentes pendant l'émission. Voilà, bon, donc David t'a briefé sur les jeux de caméra. Donc moi je vais m'adresser à cette caméra tout le temps, même quand je m'adresse à toi, tu vas voir. Je m'adresse à la caméra pour m'adresser au public en réalité. Et puis je tournerai mon regard vers toi à la fin de ma question pour faire la...
Oui, et moi j'ai 3 secondes avant de regarder là.
Voilà, c'est l'idée.
Bon, merci spécialement Marco. Le lancement de la carte blanche aujourd'hui, c'est un gros projet.
Oui, mais bon, j'ai tenu à être là avec vous.
Merci à tous les deux, c'est vraiment génial. Mais un jour de lancement, honnêtement, j'imagine votre stress. Oui.
C'est quoi carte blanche?
Ah, c'est un projet génial. Je vous laisse répondre, Marco.
Tu nous diras après, Marco.
Oui.
On va lancer là. C'est en lien avec Ruinart?
Oui.
The oldest champagne house in France, Ruinart, as I read.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know that.
The first one registered.
Yeah, the first registered, that's what the Wikipedia page says.
But Carte Blanche, the projects are always amazing. I really love it. I've liked each one of them so far. And who's the artist this year?
On a un petit problème de flux, attendez, on a un problème technique, on est en train de régler ça.
Okay.
Marco, who's the artist chosen this year? Or is it still a secret? No.
Marco, can you hear Eva or not? Marco, can you hear us?
Yeah, right now, yes.
Okay.
I think.
No, I was wondering who was the artist chosen this. No, I was wondering who was the artist chosen this year.
It's gonna be like shown tomorrow. So
Okay.
today is only for the press. I'm not gonna say more. But
okay.
stay
No,
tuned.
you have to keep the secret.
C'est sous embargo.
Exactly.
C'est sous embargo.
Exactly.
How exciting.
Even for insiders like us.
And Sarah, everything going well on your side? Sarah, vous nous entendez?
It keeps on cutting a bit, like we get rainbow colors displayed in the sound cuts. I'm not sure if you can hear us.
Yes. No, I was wondering if everything was okay on your side in your job.
I'm sorry, it cut again. I really didn't hear the
C'est pas
question.
génial en fait.
Vous nous entendez en régie?
Oui, oui, oui.
On dirait que le son saute. On entend bien Marco et Sarah, mais eux, en retour, ne nous entendent pas bien. Le son saute.
Ok, ouais, mais c'est exactement le problème qu'on a aussi sur le YouTube.
Oh, okay. We have a stream sound issue being fixed.
Et comment j'ai vu sur Instagram que vous avez fait un post Insta pour ce live. Non, Lémi a fait un post Insta. Comment vous avez recruté les gens qui participent au live? Vous avez envoyé des mails? Combien on a d'inscrits? Tu as une idée?
Ah oui, alors ce qu'on fait habituellement, c'est qu'on invite tous les gens qui ont manifesté un intérêt pour un programme de l'école à assister au live.
D'accord. Et combien il y a de personnes ils s'inscrivent?
250
250.
Et généralement, il y en a un tiers qui sont effectivement là pendant le live.
Bon, c'est pas mal quand même.
Et ce qu'on constate aussi, c'est qu'on a généralement pendant le live pour un master quelques dizaines de participants, mais on en a 4 fois plus dans les 24
qui le regardent.
Dans les 24 heures qui suivent le live. Et après le live, il a une seconde vie en stream.
Oui, tout à fait.
Je
vais le partager sur les réseaux.
Tout à fait. on l'utilisera pour la campagne de promotion qui est en cours et la campagne suivante.
Donc j'ai vu ça avec Florent hier, donc l'alternance est actée pour 2027. Donc du coup les étudiants qui vont postuler en 2026 pourront la faire en leur deuxième année. Donc ça c'est une nouveauté.
Ceux qui intègrent le master là en septembre pourront le faire dans leur deuxième année, c'est ça?
Oui.
Donc,
Attends, 26, oui, tout à fait.
Donc on peut en parler même.
Oui, on peut en parler.
Congratulations.
C'est pas fait, mais c'est un boulot de taré, mais on va le faire.
Okay.
Bon, je vais relire mes notes un peu en attendant.
Tu peux. Donc toi, tu es Program Director of the
Oui, absolument.
Master.
Ok, c'est réglé, on va pouvoir...
C'est réglé, ok.
Bon, vous nous entendez bien, Sarah, Marco?
Tout à fait.
C'est mieux, ouais.
Perfect.
Super.
Ok, parfait.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Sciences Po Live broadcast dedicated to the Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre offered at the Sciences Po School of Management and Impact. I'm with Eva Bellinghausen, Program Director of the Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre, to give you the most up-to-date information on the program. Eva, thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure.
And we also have two guests who are with us remotely. Marco and Sarah, you are respectively graduate and student of the Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre. Thank you very much for being with us. We'll be with you in just a moment. Now, to you viewers watching us live on YouTube today, should you have any question at this point about the program, you can ask your questions in the chat box of this YouTube live session. Our guest will be happy to answer a few of those questions in the second part of this broadcast. Now let's get started, and my first question goes to Eva Bellinghausen, Program Director of the Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre. Eva, as a start, could you tell us what are the academic objectives of the program?
Yes, of course. Our Sciences Po is a social sciences university. That's what sets us apart, and that's what sets the Master apart also. And that's interesting because luxury is very deeply rooted in a culture and in a society. So studying the social sciences aspect of luxury is extremely relevant for leaders to be relevant today and tomorrow, to understand luxury, to have a very fine understanding of how a society evolves, how our values, our aspirations evolve, how they change, how we consume, how we produce. All of these things are extremely important today and also on the long term. The social sciences training gives students and alumni a very solid foundation on which they can evolve all of their lives and during all of their professional careers. Of course, we also give students the hard skills they need to be immediately relevant on the work, in the work market. But those skills, they're very necessary, but they get outdated relatively quickly, and you have to update them all of the time. Whereas the social sciences foundation, the critical thinking, the general culture, the fact to be able to ask the right questions, those things, they actually do stick with you.
Thank you very much. Eva, now let's talk about a few subjects taught. What are the common subjects that are taught within the program, and what are the main disciplines?
So we recruit students from all walks of life. So in the beginning of the program, we really create the foundations, the academic foundations of the program. And you have the introductory courses, Introduction to Luxury. All students take classes on luxury marketing, on corporate strategy. Those are really the fundamentals that are taught. Classes on sustainability are fundamental classes that are taught to all students. And then then afterwards you have a choice of electives that is taught on choice. There's data digital subjects.
Thank you very much. Eva, now we understand the Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre is a 2-year program. Could you tell us how are the 2 years of studies organized?
Well, it's a classical, what we call an academic staircase. It's a classical academic staircase. In the first year, we really create the foundations. Students study the absolutely necessary basic knowledge, and those classes are mandatory for everybody to have all students at the same level at the end of the first semester. During that first semester, we also do a first large-scale business case with a luxury maison. We've been working for Chanel, for Louboutin, for the Ritz, to give a few examples, which allows students to immediately apply the knowledge they acquire in the fundamental classes of the first semester, and also prepare them to search for their first gap year internship, to feel that they are well prepared for the job market, even if they don't have any prior experience. That's during the first semester. In the second semester, we will go on to study, dive in depth into customer relationship, customer behavior, into sustainability also, and also in the history and sociology of luxury. That's in the second term. And at the end of the second term, we have a study trip to Milan. That's a very exciting opportunity for students to study and compare French and Italian luxury. We deep dive into the Italian and more specifically Milanese conception of luxury, into great brands in Italy. We do a luxury safari that allows students to discover the different Milanese luxury houses and to see how their DNA translates into their boutiques. We visit, for instance, a shoe factory also in Italy. We receive Bain & Company for more business insights and so on. So that's a very important part of the first year also. Then between the first and the second year, students, we encourage students to do a gap year. They can do it. It's not mandatory at all, of course, but we highly encourage it for several reasons. The first reason is that if you have a dream, you need to put that dream to the test. Sometimes people dream of working in, I don't know, product management in beauty or something. Well, give it a try. Do 2 internships in 2 different maisons on beauty in different missions and different places, and put your dream to the test to be more sure of it when you come back. Or else, if you don't have a specific project, that's your moment to try out something and come back with a more solid project in your second year. In the second year, we go deeper into certain issues of data digital, of other subjects that will help you acquire basic, the necessary knowledge to prepare definitely for the work market. And there is a large catalog of elective courses that allows students to either sort of in serendipity try to acquire a general culture on the luxury sector, or else to specialize in what they are really passionate about. And starting next year, students will be able to do a work-study program, which will be interesting for them because, firstly, it's highly professionalizing. You enter the work market with up to 2 years of work experience if you've done a gap year. And also it has a financial advantage is that your tuition is paid by the company. And those students who don't do a dual work-study degree, they can do a 3rd semester and then an internship.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you very much. So it's a 2-year program divided into...
Alors, Eva, c'est super, mais tu regardes, je pense, partout, sauf la caméra.
Ah, ça va pas du tout.
C'est pas ouf. C'est pas ouf. Tu regardes là, tu regardes Adrien, tu regardes Sarah, tu regardes un peu tes lunettes en bas, machin.
C'est là que ça se passe.
Et voilà.
D'accord.
Et donc là, c'est comme si je te parlais. Alors voilà, Eva, ça se passe comme ça. Non, mais c'est pas mal et tout. Ah oui, voilà.
Il faudrait poster quelqu'un là.
Et donc vraiment, il faut que si tu parles à la personne qui est là.
D'accord. Ok, je vais essayer.
Et avec les yeux, en fait. En fait, tu as tes yeux qui regardent vraiment 5% du temps
ça
et ça se balade partout.
Ouais.
Et c'est dommage parce que vraiment ce que tu racontes c'est bien, la gestuelle est bien, c'est hyper fluide et tout, mais en fait t'as pas le regard qui accroche.
Je vais essayer de faire ça.
Voilà. Je te le dis ça parce que là il reste une question après, on va passer à Sarah, mais pour que déjà tu...
Oui.
Tu vois.
Non, mais je te remercie. Mais je te dis, je ne suis pas à l'aise devant une caméra, donc...
Mais ne meurs pas, t'inquiète pas.
C'est pour ça qu'on fait la répète.
Oui.
Pas de problème. Donc j'enchaîne. Thank you very much, Eva. So it's a 2-year program divided into 4 semesters with an optional gap year in between year 1 and year 2. The 4th semester being a mandatory internship and the possibility of a work class experience during year 2. Thank you again, Eva. Now, a word on the language of instruction. What is the program's language of instruction?
So the program is taught entirely in English. There can be a few electives in French for those who wish it, but you can go into this program with no knowledge of French. But you have to be aware of the fact that we highly recommend, or we make learning French mandatory until you have a C1 level. You don't need to acquire that C1 level, but so long as you don't have it, French classes are mandatory for 2 reasons. One is, as I mentioned, luxury is deeply rooted in a culture and a society. And in order to understand that culture and that society and to try to apprehend it better, it's important to learn the language. It's important to acquire the culture. It's super important to take an interest in French civilization. That's one thing. And the next thing is that the very classic and top luxury maison will require a working level of French to recruit you. So there are a few luxury maisons that are English speaking. Most historical luxury maisons, you have a definite advantage if you speak French. So we want to improve your chances of landing a job also by teaching you French.
An English taught program with mandatory classes of French for non-French speakers. Thank you very much, Eva. Now let's welcome Sarah. Sarah, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Vachement mieux.
Ok.
Vachement mieux. Alors maintenant, on va faire le petit détail de plus. T'as oublié le jeu de regarder au début Adrien, puis la caméra, puis repasser sur Adrien. Parce que du coup, t'étais tellement focus sur la caméra que...
Ok.
Voilà. Mais vraiment, je préfère que tu sois focus sur la caméra, que ça se balade.
D'accord.
Là, c'était vraiment... On a l'impression que tu nous parles.
D'accord.
Tout à l'heure, tu parlais...
On sait pas trop.
Au sol, tu vois, on se demandait.
Et quand les étudiants parlent, je regarde où?
Alors,
les
quand les étudiants parlent, en fait, on va au début les mettre en grand plan. Donc tu peux soit regarder là, parce qu'en fait c'est pas très gênant, on voit que tu regardes vers la caméra, soit te tourner pour les regarder là.
D'accord.
C'est comme tu...
Non, c'est juste pour avoir...
le plus à l'aise. Normalement, on les passe en gros plan au bout de 3 secondes dans leur réponse. S'il y a des problèmes de connexion, on repasse en plan large. Pour
donc
que
là
si ça
ou là.
frise, voilà. Exactement. Ok.
Ok.
Allez, let's go.
It's a fully taught. It's a program fully taught in English with mandatory French classes for non-French speakers. Thank you very much, Eva. Now let's welcome Sarah. Sarah, thank you again for being with us. You are a second-year student enrolled in the Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre. You will graduate this coming spring 2026. Sarah, you did your high school in Alicante in Spain, followed by an undergraduate program at Sciences Po in France prior to joining the Master. What made you choose the specific Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre?
Hello, so first of all, thank you for having me, and what made me choose this program. So as you've said, I entered the bachelor's, Sciences Po in the bachelor's, so my first idea of a career was international relations, so it's a bit funny that now I'm in the luxury industry, but at the end of those 2 years I realized that I actually wanted to work in a creative industry, and this got confirmed through my 3rd year abroad, so thanks to Sciences Po, I went to study 1 year in Milan, and there I realized that I actually really liked the luxury industry because for the first time ever I could attend luxury industry classes, and especially fashion classes such as sociology of fashion, fashion film, and so on. And so that's how the luxury industry went from being a prospect to actually being what I wanted to do for my career. And then when I had to choose my master's, I decided to stay at Sciences Po because I was already very satisfied with my experience in the bachelor's, and I really value what Sciences Po had to offer to the master's. As Eva mentioned, social sciences is a really important part of it. So it is a business-oriented master's, but the fact that it always studies everything through the lens of social sciences was something that I was very attached to. And also the expectations of excellence from students, but also from teachers. And as well, the need of critical thinking was something that confirmed my wish to stay at Sciences Po and to do the specific master's.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Now, could you give us a word, give our viewers a word on the...
Excuse-moi, c'est super, Sarah. Un petit détail, de la même manière que Eva. T'as tes yeux qui se baladent un petit peu. Alors, ils vont en haut quand tu réfléchis à ta réponse, ça c'est très naturel. Mais essaye de voir comme si dans la caméra c'était quelqu'un et que tu lui parles. Ok. C'est jamais évident, mais je préfère le dire comme ça. Toi, tu peux t'entraîner là sur les questions suivantes. Ok. Juste un point de détail pour demain, je te le dis avant que j'oublie. Il faut plutôt un truc uni parce que là on voit des micro-rayures et ça, en grand plan, ça rend pas très bien sur le pull. Tu vois, comme moi, hein, ces micro-rayures, ça c'est pas génial. Ok. Mais sinon c'est super, c'est hyper clair, c'est hyper concis. Focus un peu sur les yeux, mais il faut pas que ça te fasse perdre le fil. Voilà.
Ok, c'est noté.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Now let's have a word on the program itself. What's the learning environment like in the program? Do you have a favorite class maybe? And what are some of the best memories you retain from your Sciences Po master's experience?
So for me, regarding the learning environment, what was the sort of not the biggest shock, but the biggest change from the master's is that the program was super professionalizing. Indeed, the Sciences Po bachelor's is very academic. So arriving in the master's and having teachers that actually are workers in the sector and really teach us about their careers, and also as well having many students, I would say that, honestly, I don't know, maybe Eva would know better, but I would say maybe 1/3 to up to 1/2 of the students are not Sciences Po graduates from the bachelor's, and some of them had previous professional experiences. So what they brought to the table and what the teachers brought to the table made the master's really professionalizing, which was for me really refreshing and something that I really value. Then regarding the favorite class, I would have to say it was the class taught by Serge Carrera, which is called, I think, Introduction to Luxury and Fashion. Essentially, it was sort of a big abécédaire on the history of fashion, especially in France, and the history of luxury. And I think the class was very special because Serge Carrera is a really important figure of the Parisian luxury fashion environment. And his experience is very extensive. Today he works at the Fédération de la Haute Couture et de la Mode. So he made the class very, as I've said, very special. And finally, best memories. It was really hard. It's really hard to answer this question because it's my 6th year now in Sciences Po. So I have a lot of best memories, but I would say it's a bit cheesy, but I think the people I've met along the way, fellow students, of course, but also teachers, the administration, and as well a lot of very esteemed guest speakers. The student life in Sciences Po in general, and I'm going a bit beyond the master's, is very dynamic. It attracts very notorious guest speakers. There are a lot of opportunities to go to very interesting conferences. And then more specific to the master, well, I think in that case, I really have to say thank you to Eva because she has organized so many visits, especially the Milan school trip was really great. And also a big thank you to Serge Carrera, who isn't here, but he also secured us some places to all the students in a fashion show. So we all went to see a fashion show, which isn't something that happens every day. So I would say those are my top, very exhaustive, best memories from Sciences Po.
And it sounds like it's a lot of good memories. Thank you very much, Sarah. Eva mentioned how students can do a gap year between year 1 and year 2. You did a gap year with 2 internships at 2 French multinational companies specializing in luxury goods and headquartered in Paris, France, Dior and Kering. What were your positions and work about?
So yes, indeed, I did a gap year. So for my first internship of the gap year, I was at Kering. I was at Kering Group, so I wasn't in any specific maison. And my position was very specific. I was working in the innovation sector. So I had the role of somebody who is in events. So I was creating events in innovation, and the goal of my team was to raise awareness around innovations throughout all of Kering, so Kering Group, but also different Kering maisons. So we would host events where we would host different collaborators from different maisons, especially Parisian-based ones. And when I was there, it was revolving a lot around AI, which is a very important subject. So it was creating different events. It could have been forums, also conferences, workshops. So it was very, very diverse, but it was mostly, yes, event management. And then my second internship, I went to Dior, Christian Dior Couture, and I was working in campaigns. So it was essentially, again, management, but management of campaigns. So organizing the different teams, the different talents that have to come to the campaigns, and then the whole image aspect around it. What are we going to do with the assets? What are the asset needs, and so on. And now for my end of year internship, I'm back at Christian Dior, but I'm in a completely different position. I'm in the marketing teams. I'm doing collection merchandising for shoes for men. So essentially, it revolves around developing all the commercial lines for shoes, men's.
Thank you, Sarah. And after doing those internships at Dior, Kering, and Christian Dior, and what's the company you just mentioned? Sorry, the internship you're doing now. Christian Dior.
Christian Dior again. Yeah.
again. Do you have an idea of the sector, the position, or the company you wish to work at after graduation?
To be honest, I can't say I'm 100% sure, and I think it's actually something good. I think a career is supposed to change a lot, and that's also why I recommend doing a gap year. I think I had a very precise idea before doing the gap year, and now I've met so many people and I've widened my horizon so much that I feel like there are so many options that I don't want to say that I'm 100% set on something. I really enjoyed campaigns, and it's not something that I wouldn't mind going back to it. But I'm also really enjoying my position currently. I think collection merchandising is a very central role to a company, but I'm still discovering the job. So for now, I would say maybe one of both, but I'm keeping my doors open.
Thank you, Sarah. Now, final question. We do hope that many of the viewers watching us live today will be applicants to the program next year or in the following years. What advice would you give to an applicant willing to join the program next year?
So to be fair, I joined Sciences Po when I was in bachelor, so I think the procedures are not the same. But what I've learned and what I know from my friends that joined Sciences Po for the master's program, what I would say is that they were also different. They all had different ages, different academic backgrounds, different previous professional experiences. So I would say that there isn't any typical profile that is meant to enter into masters. So I think for possibly a prospect candidate, if they see somebody who entered and they don't have the same exact background, it's not something that should stop them. I also think it's a very professionalizing master, so knowing about the industry and also already showing that you have some appetences in, I don't know, maybe a particular sector like watches, beauty, fashion, leather goods, or maybe in a particular activity. It could be image, events, just really anything you can think about. Showing that you have an interest in it, that you apply it in your day-to-day, and that you all globally know the industry. I think that's something that is important. And then finally, as Eva mentioned, and as I've already said, it is a business-oriented master, but it's still at Sciences Po, so showing that you value social sciences and you value what they bring to the learning process, and also showing that you can exercise critical thinking and analytical skills is something that I think will help you throughout your interviews and your application overall.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for a great testimonial and advice to future applicants. Now we are back in studio. Wait.
Ok, super Sarah, il faudra que tu y penses demain. Ouais, les jeux partent un peu en l'air de temps en temps, mais c'était bien mieux. C'est un peu pour tout le monde cette remarque, il va falloir être un peu plus concis parce que sinon l'émission va durer très très longtemps. Autant pour toi c'est tes interventions et toi aussi Sarah, un poil plus concis. C'est très riche et c'est très intéressant, mais c'est en fait à un moment j'ai peur qu'on perde un peu les gens. Faut qu'on soit plus plus
Straight
concis
to the
pour
point.
que les questions elles soient vraiment cadencées. Ok, mais sinon c'était très bien, Sarah. Merci. On peut continuer.
Merci, c'est noté.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for a fruitful testimonial and great advice to future applicants. Now we are back with Eva Bellinghausen, Program Director of the Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre. Eva, Sarah just made a perfect transition about prospective students. What is a good profile for the Master? What type of students are you looking for?
Well, as Sarah mentioned, there is no typical student profile. We recruit students from all sorts of academic backgrounds, and that makes for the diversity of the program and for the wealth, the intellectual wealth of the program also. So that's super interesting. What students do have in common and the type of profile we do look for is obviously the academic excellence. That is a very important aspect. You have to be top of your class, you have to be very good, and you have to have a very strong working capacity. As you're preparing for a sector that is very demanding, the program is demanding. It's a program with a lot of work, with a hard workload. We look for people who have a good general culture. We look for people who are curious, who are intellectually open, and to have a very solid motivation also for the positioning of the program. We're looking for students who have an interest in social sciences and who have an interest in CSR. Ecology is super important for us. Social responsibility is important for us. So make sure that those are really points that interest you too, that is where you want to go. And yes, I would say that's probably the most important things we look for.
Thank you very much, Eva. Now, Sciences Po is a total of 13,500 students. What is the size of the Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre cohort, and how international are cohorts?
It's a relatively small program, and that is voluntarily so. It's a very selective program. We have between 40 and 50 students. There's no fixed set number. There are about between 40 and 50 students each year, and the cohorts are extremely international. We have, I think, this year I have 45 students with 13 nationalities, and many students have double nationalities, so it's a super international program, and that's also part of its wealth.
A truly international program indeed. You mentioned the academic objectives of the program, and Sarah illustrated a few classes she did in the program. What are the teaching methods like? What's the proportion of lectures, seminars, group projects? You mentioned field trips.
Yes, so the teaching methods will very much depend on the type of class. The academic classes obviously are more classical classes with teachers speaking to the students. There's always a large importance given to interactivity with the class, and then you have smaller classes, more practical classes taught by professionals, which will contain more concrete activities, more business cases, more visits, more visitors coming in, sharing experience. So we have 20% of our classes that are taught by academics, 80% of the classes are taught by high-level professionals, and the teaching methods are obviously not the same, but we do work a lot with business cases in order to help students become very professional and to test their knowledge and to apply it to a concrete, real-life business case.
Thank you very much, Eva. We now have the pleasure of welcoming Marco. Marco, thank you again for being with us. You are a 2022.
Eva, c'était super. Faut rien changer.
D'accord, c'était bon là? Ok.
Donc,
parfait, merci.
Marco, you are a 2022 graduate from the Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre. You are originally from Italy. You applied as an international student for the program. You currently work at Ruinart, the oldest established champagne house in France, as brand image manager. Firstly, what made you want to work in that field, and what is your work about?
First of all, thank you for welcoming me. I'm very happy to be here and being able to share my experience. I have to say it was a growing process because at the very beginning I started in fashion, and for me it was the natural job I wanted to do in my whole career. And then little by little, I discovered other businesses, for instance, like the perfume industry, but also the champagne industry. And that is thanks to different levels, different layers. I've met some people that inspired me through Sciences Po classes, like Martin Coubertin. I've met my former manager at Dom Perignon. So she was so inspiring that she made me realize I wanted to discover more and join the champagne and wine business. And then I've also to say it was kind of the image, because I knew I had kind of a talent in image. And I tried through that whole process to go deeper and searching how to develop this talent in a kind of business way. That was possible for me at LVMH, and I created my career little by little. Today I have the possibility to be a brand image manager at Trinar, and for me it's a perfect mix because I work as an image manager. I also produce content, but I also work on the image strategy. And on top of that, I work on merchandising with all the markets, with all the teams. So it's very broad, but it is something very important to me because I can talk with different profiles, with different talents, different understanding different needs. So it's something key for me right now.
Thank you, Marco. You mentioned how teachers and classes at Sciences Po contributed to your interest in the champagne business. What other contributions did the program make to your early career?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I would say, first of all, I was able to understand what lies behind job descriptions, because sometimes it's a bit confusing, especially at the beginning of a career, or at least mine. It was a bit confusing because you have many job descriptions, many interesting sectors. And I think Sciences Po, with this duality that Eva was talking about the academic part and the more kind of business part with like business cases, etc., made me aware of what lies behind those job descriptions. And it made me also gave me the possibility to discover different jobs by doing internship, by exploring more. And the last one, I would say, it's the international environment, because what it's interesting in Sciences Po, you have international students, international environment, and you can do, and you can meet also people from other schools. That kind of brings you a lot in terms of understanding of what's going on in the world, and inspires, at least inspired me through the whole to the 2 years master program. And the last part for me is literally the idea of having this kind of, I would say, social part and business part, because as social success really brings something to understanding as a young marketing professional, and you can have a broader vision of what's going on in the world and develop those aspects.
Thank you, Marco. I mentioned how you are originally from Italy. You did a Bachelor of Arts at the New Academy of Fine Arts in Milan, Italy. What is the reason you chose Sciences Po and the specific Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre for your graduate studies?
Yeah, thank you for asking me that. I heard a lot of good things about Sciences Po through my whole career. And also when I was a student, because a lot of people did a kind of an exchange in Paris, so I met people that were already studying there, and it inspired me because I understood how valuable were the classes that were taught and the whole system. So I was very interested in that, and then it was really the mix between this social part and this business part, because I wanted to have both in my career, because I think it's key to be a successful professional, especially in the marketing and luxury industry, where the human understanding is key to develop a significant strategy.
Thank you, Marco. Now, your schoolmate Sarah mentioned how her various internship experiences and classes helped her build her professional project while at Sciences Po. What were the stages of building your own professional project during your studies at Sciences Po in the Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre?
Yeah, thank you for asking the question. I would say the first one was really working hard during the classes because it's a rigorous and demanding business. So it's very important, even when you're a student, to work hard to understand the business. That's for me the first part. And then to create kind of a network. And it is possible with all the professionals you meet in Sciences Po and all the forward-thinking companies that support the master and are there. And for me then, it was kind of trying to find my way somehow. And I started with Maison Francis Gourjean, which is part of the LVMH group, and I was working on the heritage part. So I was analyzing all the heritage of the brand and trying to find anecdotes, trying to find storytelling behind that and sharing that with the marketing team. With the development team, etc. So for me, it was very enriching because I was working hand in hand with the CEO and the nose of the brand. And that was done during my Sciences Po studies. And I thanks also today Eva to let me do that because it was not obvious because I didn't take a gap year at the time. And then also when I work at Dom Perignon was something for me I kind of a step forward because I moved from an alcohol industry based on the first step, like the nose, to another type of alcohol industry. And for me, it was inspiring because I was a brand manager and it was mostly based on events and a different approach to the luxury system, mostly based on Art de Vivre. So it was just a way for me to like express my talents, but also to put it like in real life to improve in real life everything I've learned in Sciences Po. So yeah.
So you also did a couple of internships, just like your schoolmate Sarah. You did it at French perfumer Francis Gourjean, you mentioned, and Dom Perignon Champagne House, and finally working at Ruinart Champagne House now. Thank you very much, Marco. Final question. As I said, you applied as an international applicant to the program. Do you have any advice to future international applicants and students on building their professional project, just like you did, while studying at Sciences Po in Paris?
Yeah. I would say I have three mains, then I have kind of a bonus answer. The first one for me is work hard in any case, because as I said, it's a very tough business. And especially nowadays, I think it's important to be ready for the challenge. That's the first part. The second part for me is really create your own network is key to explore, to ask questions, to discover more, especially even more when you're an international student. Be a bit brave, also because business, okay, you have something you can learn and something you have to learn on the field. So be brave, go outside from your comfort zone. I think it's very important. And the last one, as Eva mentioned before, I think it's to learn French, especially to understand the culture and to work in a French company. It was a real plus for me in my career.
Thank you so much, Marco, for your testimonial. We'll get back to you in a moment. Now, final series of questions to Eva Bellinghausen, Program Director of the Master in Marketing, New Luxury and Art de Vivre. Eva, if you may, let's talk about job opportunities and careers. How do graduates of the program enter the job market?
Well, it's a very professionalizing program. We know that all of our students will be very quickly on the job market, either for gap year internships or else last internship or first job. So that happens very fast. And we do support students in that access to the work market through several means. The first is the business cases, which allow students to work directly with companies who will see them work and who will see how good they are and maybe want to recruit them. The teachers, 80% of the teachers are high-level professionals from the luxury industry, and they do help advise students. Some open their address book, some recommend students, some even hire students. So that's also a good way of accessing the sector. The next thing is the internships, or in the future the apprenticeships. Companies that have seen you work will be very much more likely to recruit you. So it's important to do internship, to develop your CV, to develop your network, to develop your contacts and to get a first work experience. We also are very fortunate to have a vast alumni network, alumni of Sciences Po working in the luxury sector, and by now also already 238 alumni of the luxury program who are likely to recruit or recommend students from the program. And Last but not least, we are super fortunate to have a number of very important partners in the luxury sector. Chanel is a partner, LVMH is a partner, Louboutin is a partner, and Saint Laurent. And those companies receive students' CV books. We meet with them. We have HR meetings. So students get the opportunity to meet HR from those companies on a regular basis and to develop their skills and their network.
Thank you so much, Eva. Graduates and smoothly enter the job market. You mentioned a few things that you expose students to prepare them to professional life. You mentioned business cases and exposure to professional and HR. How do you prepare students to professional life otherwise?
Do you mean during, sorry, je n'ai pas compris la question, otherwise during classes or?
Yeah, I mean apart from professional exposures and HR.
Tu veux aller que j'aille par ou plutôt par?
Yeah, you mentioned real business cases already. So
okay.
You actually.
I think I had the impression I did answer the. I'm sorry.
So we can go straight to the last question and.
Sorry for the mix-up.
No problem. Final question. You mentioned a few maison partners of the program. In what sectors and what organizations are graduates recruited?
So the New Luxury and Art de Vivre opens to a very large number of careers. Most of our students work in product-related careers in large companies. Many work in, for instance, like Christian Dior, couture, or parfum. We have a lot of graduates. We have a lot of graduates at Chanel and different LVMH maisons. Beauty lovers will frequently work at L'Oréal because it's also an English-speaking company, which is a great advantage for the international students. We have a lot of passion for heritage and patrimony. That's really something that students from the program enjoy, hospitality and food. So students do work a lot in product-related or event management, in communications. We have a few students that work in consulting, also is a career that students can apply to, and in customer relationship management and customer-related jobs.
A wide range of jobs
yes.
and organizations. Thank you very much, Eva. Now is the time for our Q&A session. Thank you very much for the questions you've been asking in the chat box of this YouTube Live.
Merci Marco, je n'ai pas interrompu, mais c'était très bien. Il faudra demain donc que tu sois vigilant. Alors là, on avait un problème de son, mais c'est lié à l'endroit où tu es, donc c'était pas dans le sujet parce que demain tu seras pas là. Donc, mais là, tu avais un espèce de comme si tu étais dans une cave un peu. Mais je pense que c'est très lié à l'endroit où tu dois être dans un box.
Peut-être que si
au moins c'est aligné à une heure, non, je rigole. Mais en tout cas, je vais changer demain, je ne serai pas là, je pense que le son, ça sera beaucoup mieux.
Ouais. Et peut-être que si tu baisses un peu le micro aussi, parce que j'ai l'impression que le micro est un peu haut juste devant ta bouche, et si tu le baisses un peu...
Peut-être, en fait, je ne peux pas le...
Ah, tu peux pas le... Ah, tu n'es pas amovible, ok.
Je vais peut-être changer de casque.
Mais on testera ça demain, et puis pareil, sur le visage, la lumière, mais encore une fois, ça c'est pour demain, là c'est...
Ouais.
Voilà.
C'est prévu, j'ai pris des notes.
Ouais.
Merci.
Et ben, merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Demain, 20 minutes avant le direct pour régler tous ces sujets, dernières consignes, etc. C'était très bien. Il y a 250 inscrits. Soyez rassurés, le live se passe toujours mieux que la répète. Et comme la répète s'est très bien passée, non, mais parce que j'interromps, je donne des conseils, etc. Et en fait, après, vous intégrez ça. En général, les gens intègrent ça. Et sur le live, c'est très bien. Donc soyez sereins, tout se passera bien.
Merci.
Thank you very much to both of you. Thank you. À demain.
Merci, à demain.
Bye bye. J'ai juste une petite demande. En fait, avec Florent, on est en train de se dire qu'on voudrait élargir New Luxury Art de Vivre au-delà du marketing. Donc, on voudrait laisser tomber dans le titre du programme le marketing. Juste dire Master New Luxury and Art de Vivre.
On va pas le changer là, dans le titre, parce que...
Non, mais de ne pas le répéter tout le temps, de dire juste le nom du master, c'est New Luxury and Art de Vivre. Ah, oui. Juste de dire, on énonce, on va pas... Mais juste au moment où tu poses les questions, tu vois, de juste appeler le master New Luxury and Art de Vivre. Parce qu'on veut faire le pas de côté et aller plus vers le luxury management. Parce que marketing, les gens comprennent mal, ils ont l'impression que c'est forcément que du marketing. Or, on en fait beaucoup plus, en fait.
Donc c'est Master in New Luxury ou Master
New Luxury and Art de Vivre, voilà. Ça n'enlève pas, on fait du marketing, on en parle.
Ce que disait Carole aussi, c'est que vous allez l'ouvrir à l'apprentissage.
Oui, on en a parlé.
On en a parlé, oui.
D'accord.
Ouais. Et d'ailleurs, tu appelles ça Work Class Experience.
Non, Work... attends, je l'ai cherché. Work Study. Work Study. Les deux sont possibles. Hein. Work Study, mais si vous préférez Apprenticeship...
Apprenticeship, c'est quand même le terme plus généralement consacré.
Alors, ça dépend.
C'est pas bien compris, je crois, par exemple.
Bon, moi, ça me va.
Tu peux utiliser les deux
en mix. Oui, je peux utiliser
les... que ce sera disponible à partir de la rentrée 2027.
Oui, c'est ce qu'on a dit. Oui.
Ok, pardon, je sais pas toujours tout.
Non, mais il n'y a pas de mal, mais je suis consciente.
Si je vois que tu réponds comme tu l'as fait
je suis désolée, je me suis un peu emballée.
C'est pas grave, mais comme j'avais peur qu'il n'ait pas tout dit, j'ai préféré te relancer sur le même sujet.
Non, t'as bien fait.
Mais si jamais je constate que tu fais ça, c'est parce qu'il n'y a pas un problème, je passerai directement à la troisième question.
Merci. Écoute, c'est super. Tu mets vraiment à l'aise. C'est super.